The coming storm. How the sun will send us back to the Stone Age. Look around you. Take a moment. Look at the light in your room. The faint glow of the screen you're watching this on. Listen to the quiet hum of your refrigerator, the silent promise
of your phone sitting next to you. We exist inside a fragile, invisible miracle. A miracle of electricity and information woven so deeply into the fabric of our lives that we no longer see the threads. We simply trust it. We take for granted that the switch will always work, the call will always connect, the world will always be there, waiting for us, just a tap away, until it isn't. The visuals begin. A family is watching a movie on a massive, flat-screen TV. A young woman is driving down a highway at night, the holographic GPS display floating over her dashboard. A stunning shot of New York City, a glittering jewel of interconnected lights. Suddenly, in absolute jarring silence, everything goes black. The TV dies. The car's engine cuts out, the GPS vanishes, leaving the driver in terrifying darkness. The entire city skyline disappears into a void, a blanket of primal blackness not seen in over a century. A full 3 seconds of silent, empty screen. What just happened wasn't a cyber attack. It wasn't a bomb or an EMP. The enemy wasn't in the next country or even on this planet. The source of this civilization-ending apocalypse was 93 million miles away. And the hard, terrifying truth is, it has happened before, and it is going to happen again. This is the story of the one threat that could truly and literally send us all back to the Stone Age to understand the future that awaits. Us, we have to travel back in time, to a world lit by gaslight and powered by steam. The year is 1859. The pinnacle of human technology, the marvel of the age, was the telegraph, a vast planetary nervous system made of iron wires strung across continents. On the morning of September 1st, telegraph operators from Boston to Berlin began to witness something impossible. Their machines, the most advanced communication devices on Earth, began to revolt. They sparked violently, spitting fire and showering operators with electric shocks. Telegraph papers fed into the machines to be printed spontaneously burst into flames. In a panic, operators disconnected the batteries, cutting the power. But the impossible continued. The telegraphs kept working, clicking away with ghost-like phantom messages, powered by some mysterious, invisible current flowing through the very air around them. That night, the world was treated to a spectacle of terrifying beauty. The sky itself seemed to catch fire. Auroras, the northern lights, erupted with an intensity never before recorded. They were so brilliant that people in the Rocky Mountains woke up in the middle of the night and began to make coffee, believing it was dawn. Newspapers could be read as clear as day under their eerie, pulsating crimson and green light. But this wasn't happening at the North Pole. This was happening everywhere. Auroras were seen in Cuba, in the Bahamas, in Colombia, right on the equator where they should be scientifically impossible. For one night, the entire planet was bathed in a beautiful, terrifying glow. What they were witnessing was a direct hit, a planetary-scale solar storm, a blast of energy from the sun so powerful it supercharged the Earth's magnetic field and overloaded the most advanced technology of the day. The event became known as the Carrington Event, named for the British astronomer Richard Carrington, who had, just hours before, observed a white light flare of incomprehensible brightness on the surface of the sun. In 1859, it was a bizarre spectacle, a scientific curiosity that set a few telegraph offices on fire. But if a storm of that exact same magnitude were to strike our world today, it wouldn't be a curiosity. It would be the end of everything we know. So what is this threat exactly? The media uses the term solar flare, but that's like describing a hurricane as a bit of wind. A flare itself is an intense, blinding flash of radiation. The real monster, the planet killer, is what often comes with it. A CME, a coronal mass ejection. Imagine the sun, in a moment of violent rage, hurling a chunk of itself into space. A cannonball of over 1 billion tons of magnetized plasma, a superheated cloud of particles, screaming through the void at millions of miles per hour. Most of the time, these cosmic cannonballs miss us, flying harmlessly off into the galaxy. But sometimes, through a simple accident of cosmic alignment, they are aimed directly at Earth. When that CME, that billion-ton cloud of magnetized plasma, slams into our planet's magnetic shield, it's like striking a colossal bell. The impact creates geomagnetic storms that induce immense electrical currents in the upper atmosphere and, crucially, on the surface of the Earth below. In 1859, the only thing on the ground capable of capturing that current was a few thousand miles of telegraph wire. Today, we have built the perfect antenna for our own destruction. A sprawling, continent-spanning, interconnected web of millions of miles of high-voltage power lines. Our modern power grid. It is the single greatest invention of humanity, and it is our Achilles heel, our single point of failure. Here is the terrifying truth that government agencies and power companies don't want you to think about. When a Carrington-level CME strikes, it will induce massive, uncontrolled DC currents into our AC power grid. The system simply wasn't built for it. That raw alien power will surge through the lines, seeking a place to go, and it will find it. In the heart of the grid, the extra-high-voltage transformers. These transformers, many the size of a small house, are the critical nodes that step down power for our cities and homes. They will overheat in minutes. The copper windings inside, them will melt. They will buckle, catch fire, and physically explode. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. These giant transformers are not something you can buy off a shelf at Home Depot. They are monstrously complex, custom-built machines that weigh hundreds of tons. It takes anywhere from 1 to 2 years to build and install a single one. There are very few spares in the world. A major solar storm wouldn't just knock out a few of them. A government report estimated a Carrington-level event could permanently destroy hundreds of them across the United States alone. This isn't a blackout that can be fixed in a few days. It's not a storm you recover from in a few weeks, or even a few months. We are talking about a world without power for years, maybe a decade. The first 24 hours would be defined by silence and confusion. The power goes out, but this time, it's different. Your phone is dead. The cell towers are fried. The internet is gone. The radio just hisses. Every light, every screen, every connection to the outside world is severed. Within the first week, the fight for resources begins. The water stops running because the electric pumps at the municipal stations are silent. Food in refrigerators and grocery stores begins to spoil. The stores that are looted in the first few days will never be restocked because the global just-in-time delivery system, a symphony of computers and GPS, has ceased to exist. Gas stations are useless because the pumps require electricity. Our entire system of transportation grinds to a halt. By the end of the first month, our cities become death. Traps without power. There is no food, no clean water, no sanitation, no medicine. Hospitals, after their backup generators run out of fuel, become morgues. Law and order, dependent on communication and transportation, evaporates. The world we knew, the complex, interconnected society that provides for our every need, will have collapsed into a desperate, primitive fight for survival. A new dark age, brought on not by war, but by a flash of light. And if you think this is just a wild, hypothetical scenario, let me tell you about July 2012. On July 23rd, a CME of a power and scale comparable to the 1859 Carrington Event erupted from the sun and barreled through space. It crossed the orbit of Earth. But, by a sheer dumb luck miracle, our planet had been in that exact spot just 1 week earlier. We missed a direct hit by a cosmic hair's breadth. Daniel Baker, a scientist at the University of Colorado, funded by NASA, put it bluntly. If it had hit, we would still be picking up the pieces. They know this can happen. They know it's not a matter of if, but when. Lloyd's of London, the world's leading insurance market, published a report estimating the cost of such an event at over $2.6 trillion and warned that the global political and social consequences were unthinkable. Reports from the National Academy of Sciences have outlined the threat in stark detail for years, and yet, almost nothing has been done. The technology exists to protect our grid. Devices called Faraday cages and series compensators could shield our most critical transformers. The cost to protect the entire U.S. grid would be a few $billions, less than what we spend on a single new aircraft carrier. Yet the political will is absent. The power companies argue about the cost. The governments are distracted. They are all gambling every single day with our collective survival. The most frightening part is this. The sun operates on a roughly 11-year cycle of activity, from a quiet minimum to a chaotic maximum. Right now, we are at or near the peak of solar cycle 25. The sun is more active and violent than it has been in over a decade. It is throwing off powerful flares and CMEs every single week. It is playing a game of cosmic roulette, and our planet is the board. This isn't a call for panic. It's a call for awareness. It's a call to understand the profound fragility of the world we've built, to recognize that our entire modern civilization, with all its genius and complexity, is balanced on a knife's edge, utterly dependent on a star that is, by its very nature, violent and unpredictable. Think about it. What would you do without power for a week? A month? A year? What do you believe is the single greatest unspoken threat to our way of life? Let me know in the comments below. If you believe this information is critical, share this video. People deserve to know about the risks that are ignored in the nightly news, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that will define our future. The storm is coming. It's written in the laws of physics and in the history of our own star. It's better to know which way the wind is blowing.